What's up, what's up, what's up, what's up? Welcome back. Today we're working on my Git GUI. His name is Spit for Spherophoria's Git. And motivation to exist. I tried a bunch of Git GUIs. A lot of them didn't really feel like what I wanted. Basically what I want is I interact with Git on the command line often. I use features that I think many people probably don't use. Not to say that I'm like super competent, I would just say that I'm like probably in like the top 10% of Git command line users. And so like I don't want like a GUI that like hides the Git command line from me. I want it to like facilitate better usage of it. And that just didn't seem like something that was really out there, at least from what I tried. So what I have here is I have like a Git GUI that's essentially like a glorified log view. And it lets me like kind of like do some things quickly, like show multiple branches and like do a few, I can like check out a branch, delete a branch, whatever, cherry pick, merge. But like where this gets really useful is if I want to do like something that isn't supported, like rebase, I can do like git rebase -I, and then I can like say, well, I want to like stick this branch name in the command line and rebase it onto this other branch. And I can right-click this and like append that, and then I can enter here. And the big thing here is that the GUI will automatically respond to things that happen in the command line. So if I go outside of here and I say like git checkout whip, now all of a sudden like it knows that the head is here and it's like responded accordingly. So that's kind of like the pitch for the project. And what we're doing today is we're working on like a better working dir view. So the other day we added support for showing modified files in the index. There isn't really much in there, but like, the equivalent of like git status essentially. So let's maybe we'll make a couple changes just to show them. So let's just go into like, I don't know, app mod and like say like hello world smiley face. And then maybe stage that and then do another thing where we like delete it. So now if I go into the GUI, oopsies. Wrong window. If I go into the GUI. Oh, he's recompiling. Hold on. There's a fucking spam in my chat. How the fuck do I delete this? Oh. Delete. Ban. Yeah, ban. Get the fuck out of here. Okay. So now in my index, I see like that hello world thing, and if I go to modified files, I see that thing removed. But this isn't like a very nice way to work with this. It would be kind of nice. One, there's no like distinction. Here in git status, I see like modified files versus untracked. In here, there's like no distinction between those two. I just see like modified and they're not categorized, so it's hard for me to tell like what's just sitting there as garbage and what's sitting there as like something that's important. And it's hard for me to see when I type like git add -u what's gonna happen, right? If I type git add -u, like some things disappear and other things don't, and that's kind of weird. So I want to fix that. It would also be nice if I didn't have to like flip-flop between these two views to see both sets, right? Like the way git status shows it, by adding that thing, it like removed a change. But this view is kind of nice where it shows like, here's what's staged, here's what's unstaged, and here's what you haven't even like thought of staging. And I want all of that to be like in one view. And the reason that we split that up before is because like the backend in quotes, it's not really front end backend, but we'll call it a backend. It's not really like set up for this. So I want to like add support for requesting multiple sets of diffs and displaying them in like categories in the UI. And then also we need to add support for requesting only untracked files versus tracked ones in like the working dir diff. So approximate plan of action is like we have like this like architecture of the app where it's kind of like GUI app. And these are like pretty separate. Oh, geez, that's like an awful P. These are pretty separate because these are actually running on different threads. So that like, this guy's going to be like hitting the disk. How do people draw disks? They draw like a platter like this or something. I don't know. That doesn't look anything like what I usually see. But, it's hitting storage in some way. And so like if your disk is slowing down, then this can be pretty slow. And so like you don't really want this guy like disk access to like fuck up your GUI. Draw floppy disk. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, sure. How do they like? They have like this like little thing here, and then like a little. That's close enough, right? So like the app is gonna hit the disk, and if like the GUI asks for like big diff, please, right? We don't want like that to stop us from being able to like resize widgets and stuff. Like we're not going to be able to like request more things so the app is busy and is like app thread whatever. But we at least want to be able to like still like scroll, right, without like crashing everything, and so or without like being like completely blocked on like slow expensive operations. So this guy's sitting over here. He's talking to the app. And so one of the things he can ask for right now is like a diff. That's one of the things he asked for. And so I think we just kind of want this to like turn into an array. Like, could I get some diffs, please, plural? And then the app will say, okay, I will give you some diffs, plural. And then hopefully everything else just kind of falls into place. So I think this is going to be like the bulk of the work. And then we can say, okay, now we're going to add a diff type for like untracked files. So we can ask for like one of tracked, one of untracked, and then get those back together. And then we'll have to like actually do that request. And then if we get to the end of all that and we've like ripped through stuff in a pretty short amount of time, then we'll try to like merge it together with index view, which should also be pretty trivial. Like honestly, once we've got this, then this should be like almost nothing if I've planned this correctly. So let's look at changing the diff request model. IOU ring GUI backend model. Yeah, it is very similar. Except for the fact that I haven't really used IOU ring before, but I don't know if you can be like, I am submitting requests as well as polling for like arbitrary events that you can tell me about, right? Because there's some things like the app might notice things that I didn't request. At least batching is a benefit of IOU ring as yours. Yeah. I do. It's on my list of things to do at some point, to do a stream where I just like fuck around with IOU ring, because I feel like it's like a pattern that I need to understand, and I have like, it just seems more correct. It's always pissed me off, like from the dawn of like using software, it's pissed me off that IO is considered to be a blocking thing, like in general, and IOU ring kind of like solves that. Like it seems like the syscall API being a blocking API was like a mistake that just fucked up all applications for like since software was started, because it's just like so often it's just like my disk like is busy, he's doing something, and like my whole computer just grinds to a fucking halt, and it's like, why the fuck, like all of these things, they don't need to touch disk, like just let me move my mouse. Why is my mouse moving blocked on like some third application like running, like, oh, it pisses me off so much. So I do want to take a look at IO ring at some point because it seems pretty interesting and cool. Okay, I forgot to put a little X here. People who come to stream need to know that we accomplished something by talking for 6 minutes. Okay, so this like request is get diff. So somebody says, hey, I have a diff I want to see. Could I please get it? And the app probably responds with some form of like event of I finished diff fetched. So probably this guy needs to be get diffs. And thanks, I did that X. Yeah, it's really important, really important. I guess we'll make a little like diff request over here so we can have multiple of them and just kind of like yoink this shit, slap them in here. And then I guess get diffs can turn into like a vector of diff requests here. So we are saying, hey, could you please give me a few of these? And then on the sender side, we're going to say diffs fetched, and we're going to say here is the repo and here is the diff. And this guy has like metadata inside of him. And this metadata could hold the repo inside, so that can kind of simplify this. We'll just say pub create repo, which is stored as a path buff. And then we can just say that this is a vector of diffs. Okay. And then that probably just broke all sorts of shit. So this should be get diffs, and this is brackets now instead of squiggly brackets. Sorry, parentheses instead of braces? I think squiggle, parentheses, parentheses, bracket, brace. I think the squiggly ones are called braces. Oh, I like that this is purple because I've been here. I've done this before. Brackets, square, parentheses, round, braces, squiggly. Yeah. Okay. So this goes from braces to parentheses. This should be diffs fetched, and this is again parentheses instead of braces now. This guy's complaining because this is get diffs, and he should now say diffs here. Womp womp. And for now, just to keep like compatibility, we'll say assert diffs len is equal to 1. I guess we can do a little assert eq, a little common here, and then we can just expand all of the variables that were in there before. And then hopefully that just kind of like makes things automatically compile. So we can say, oops, where was I? Here, we can say let, and then we just paste this shit. Maybe we paste it with the whole definition. So we say, yoink this guy, slap him over here, indent him, yeah, nice. And then we go, please take all of these colons and replace them with commas and equal diffs 0. And I think that everything else should just kind of work. Hell yeah, baby. I love it when stuff comes together. Okay. So now on the response side, we're going to say here is a diffs fetched, not a diff fetched. Repo, expected repo goes in here. And this is now no longer this. This is like this. And I guess this has to be inside a vector. So we say vec. This order. Nope, I've fucked this up in some way. Oh, where does this... there we go, there we go. Brackets, braces, parentheses. Where does... Who is this trying to talk to? You know what, maybe I should undo all this just so that I can, like, see. So which brace matches which brace? This matches this. So I say repo, expected repo. This is no longer like that. And, oh, these are supposed to be parentheses here. That's where I was getting confused. Okay, so diffs fetch, and then this is a vector of these. Okay. Chillin'. Chillin'. Okay, this guy's looking for diffs fetched, which is now going to just get the diff. And I guess we don't need these to be named anymore, so he goes in parentheses. And this guy says if repo state repo is equal to diff metadata repo, then we update the diff with the diff. We can then say assert. This should be diffs plural. We can say assert eq diffs len is 1. And say let diff is equal to diffs 0. Boom, beam, bang, boom. Easy. And this guy should be get diffs. And we should be instead saying, please make a diff request. We'll say let rec is equal to diff request. And he gets all the stuff that was in here before. And now we say get diffs with the request. Like this. Close. What does he not like here? Diff request. Oh, he doesn't have an expected repo in him. How did I lose that? My mental? Oh, this is like a different diff request. Fuck me. Did I name it the same thing? App mod diff request. I did. Okay. Okay, so this guy, we don't want this. We want this as a pub struct diff request here, and then we can use that one instead. So create app diff request. Perfect. Then these guys need to be public. I guess, maybe pub create. I don't really know. I guess, like, there's no reason for me to expose these things to the real world yet. I guess this guy has to be public if the app request is public, which means that probably the API for these guys is also fully public. Yep. And he doesn't like that the get diffs, he needs to be in a vector. That's right, that's right, that's right. Okay. Cargo check. Okay, we are not quite there yet. We have app mod 371. Right, so if we write, this guy is like trying to access something by reference that is inside this vector, but we can actually just say diffs remove 0, and then he will be pulled out, and then all of the types will be like kind of like matched the way they were before. Close. Same thing in the GUI side. So we'll just say mute and diffs remove 0. Okay. Chillin'. So now when we run this, we should still see that everything works. Everything should work. Those look like some diffs. Okay. So I guess we can technically call this done, but we're kind of missing another step, which is actually like support, like actually issue request for many diffs. Which I guess maybe comes after adding the type for untracked files. Because that's like kind of what you said here. And then certainly at this point, once we actually try to do a request for untracked files, that's when we're going to start crashing because people are not handling it correctly. So that's, here we'll have to like implement, what is this called? Calculating, retrieving, generating. There we go. Multiple diffs. Here we go. Okay. And do I actually want to... Maybe we'll do the untracked stuff at the end, and for now, we will just hack it by sending a request for multiple at the same time. So here we'll say, send multiple requests at once. Dummy. Okay. So this is 1701. And we can start moving now. Okay, I guess maybe we also do this. Git checkout -b whip. Nope. Oh, we should do this in spit. Why are we doing this by hand? We should be doing this over here where we can look at everything. So we can say, fuck you, I don't want this whip branch anymore, and I want to create a new one. Okay. And then we can say, what's in the index? Double check it. Nothing crazy. And then we say, git commit -m. Diff from single to many. Then we see it pop up here. Wow, sick, very sick, much cool. And then we can actually adjust this time because we were off by a little bit. And YouTube timestamps are going to be mad at me. Okay. Alias GG to git commit for both, so I make sure I'm not committing garbage. I've never done that before. What is that? Git commit verbose -m. That just tells me which files I commit though, right? Not like, I usually want to see like exactly what like the lines are. Like by garbage, I don't just mean don't do -m. Okay. Git add -u. Let it open the editor. Whoa, that's sick. I didn't know about that. That's pretty nice. Can you also patch doing this? I wonder if you can combine that with -e. No. Git commit. I guess you would git add -e and then do it that way. Hold on. Git add -e. It would be nice if you could do this like all in one step, like add patch. Hold on. Git commit help. So, ooh, use the interactive patch check section. Can I do like super interactive -e edit the, oh, the message taken with F blah blah blah. This option lets you further edit the message. No, I want like edit the patch by hand. But that's pretty sick. I've never tried that before. Git status, git commit -p. That did nothing. Maybe I need to do it with... No, I don't know. I don't know. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Pretty cool though. That dash verbose is like definitely going in the toolbox. That's super sick. Okay. So once again, we've distracted ourselves for another 2 minutes, 3 minutes maybe even. Okay, so let's say that somebody, maybe the working dir one, when we generate diffs for the working dir, maybe we'll generate 2. So this guy says, I have a diff request. And instead of here being an option, here is going to be a vector of diff requests. And so this guy should, I guess, be construct diff requests, plural. I probably shouldn't just keep fucking hissing at people. That's not really great, but, you know, it's important to distinguish. Plurality. Okay. So this guy is going to be requests like this. And we're going to have to adjust. Let's start with maybe constructing the diff request first. So we'll say let mute ret is equal to vec new. We will return the vector at the end. So we'll just say ret this. Maybe from these guys we'll say froms and twos, or maybe here we'll say that we're going to look for pairs. That makes sense. And we'll say struct pair is from, which is a diff target, and 2 is a diff target. Yep. And so these guys are going to return pairs. So this guy's going to be vec pair from 2, like this. Nice. Okay. So now these guys are going to get pairs. We can say, instead of doing this, we do pairs.map into iter map p into this. Yep. And then we collect it at the end to return. And this is just going to be from comes from p from, and 2 comes from p2, and everything else is the same. Chillin'. Love that. Okay, so somebody's going to construct our diff requests, and now when he was looking at these guys as options before, we're now going to look at these guys and say, okay, so we were saying if the index, if we were requesting something related to the index and the index has changed, we need to refresh, and that's still true. But now it's not just if the single thing is requesting an index diff, it's if any of them are. So this is going to be iter, this map thing is equal to thing, and I guess instead of we're doing map, we'll say if any of these guys are the same as this. And we can do the same thing here, iter, any, and he seems to not like this sum here, so we can take that out. And I guess in that case, we don't need to clone here any either. So it's kind of like if any of this is equal to that. Yeah. That's looking right. Yep. Then down here, we have like a similar thing for workdir checking. And so this is just going to do the same thing. It's like requests iter any this guy is equal to that guy. Chillin'. Okay. So now we can say that last requested diff is now no longer going to be a single guy, but he's going to be a bunch of them. Simple. And this guy is now going to say, if let some request is equal to request, what is he doing here? If the last received diff... Oh, he's clearing the diff view if our last received diff is from a different spot. I see. Yeah. So here we can say, we can do the same thing. But this is no longer going to be last received diff. He's going to be last received diffs. So this is also going to be a vector of diff metadata, probably. So this is going to be a reset to an empty vector. And when we construct him, we are going to say, for now, we're just going to assert that I guess there's no asserting to be done here. We have a single diff that comes in because we've only implemented the center side right now, and so this is going to be a vector with a single diff metadata in him. Okay. Chilling. So now in this area, we're going to say, I guess we should split this out a little bit. So we can say we can make a new function here that's like received diffs match request. Match request targets. We're only checking the targets, not like the options associated with them. Because we have like options associated with the diff that are like, hey, can you track moves? Can you track white space? And if we like toggle an option that's like, hey, could you track white space? We don't clear the existing diff because it's like for the same data, even though the UI is kind of like not perfectly indicating, it's like better for it to stay there and just get updated when the new data comes in instead of clearing it. I guess arguably better. I think it's better that way. But if you like click a different commit, then all of a sudden like you really want to clear that so that you don't accidentally confuse someone into thinking that like one commit is associated with another change set. That would be really bad. But if it's like showing white space or not white space and hasn't updated yet, that's not the end of the world. And it's better to like have something to look at while you wait for the app to churn its shit out. I think at least. Okay, so in here, we're going to say I have some sort of diff request. So we're going to say that the rec is a slice of diff requests. And received, or yeah, received we'll call it, is a vector of diff metadata. So first we can say if they are not the same length, they're clearly not the same. And now everywhere else in here we can assume they're the same length, which is really nice. Right, unimplemented for now so that the fucking linter stops bitching at me. Like, shut the fuck up. Thank you. And so now we can say like rec iter zip received iter, I guess. We're gonna, maybe we'll assume that they are like the same order. I think that's like a reasonable assumption. We haven't implemented like the sender, the actual like response side yet, but I think it's a reasonable assumption that if we requested ABC, we can get ABC back. That seems reasonable, not BCA, right? Like it seems reasonable. So we'll say rec item response item is equal to this. Nope, for this in that. Yep. Is it in this language? I was writing some C++ yesterday, and now all of a sudden writing for loops is like confusing me a little bit, but I think that's right. Okay, so now we do rec.from rec item from is equal to response item from response item from. I guess we say if this is not equal to that, we return false. And we do the same thing here if 2 is not equal to, and otherwise we get to the end and we're happy. These are the same. Which means that we can like flip this whole if statement to if received diffs match request targets. If they do not match, we are clearing the view. So then we pass in the requests and the last received diff. Yep. Boom, 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 boom. And if that is the case, then we do this, and then here I guess we actually dispatch the request externally if requests len is greater than 0. So if it's not empty, the linter gets mad if I write length is 0 instead of is empty for some fucking reason. I'm not really convinced that is empty is more readable, but he is. Not to distract, but for your exploration later, get add-edit does the diff editing. Yeah, I knew about get add-e. I use that often. Well, I kind of use add-p with the edit thing more, but get add-e is like super useful. And he doesn't like that this has to be plural now, so this is a vec of diff requests. And this guy needs to return an empty vector now instead of none. Chillin'. Okay. So now somebody's going to be angry because this is now having multiple diff requests. We're going to map these guys now. So we're going to say diff requests, plural. I gotta stop hissing, man. It's so fucked. And so these are actually like very, very similar. It's just we're attaching like a repository to them now. So I guess we say let rex is equal to let outgoing rex, I guess we'll call it, is equal to diff requests into iter map something. I guess it's like map rec to this. I guess it's all of this. And this is just going to be rec, boom, boom. Yep, and then we collect this into a vector. And then now this doesn't be a single thing, but we say, hey, outgoing recs, please. Nice. Holy shit. Is everything compiling? Maybe. Dude, I love it when you just follow the errors and then you're like, maybe it's done. So I think that what we should see now is that this stuff should still work. These guys that are requesting a single diff, and the index should still work. But as soon as I click on modified files, he's going to, oh no, this should still work too because we didn't actually change anything yet. Sick. Okay. I think now we go back into the commit view and we can hack it now. We can say, hey, if you are the working dir view, maybe we ask for index to work dir as well as the head to the index. Yeah, so we can say vec pair, and we have another pair after. And the first one is going to be this. Yep. And the second one is going to be this. So boom, boom, okay. And he doesn't like that because these guys need to be commas, not semicolons. Okay, so now when I run this, we probably will crash when I select the working dir because we've requested 2 diffs and the backend doesn't know how to handle that. So here I should see, yep, we have an assertion in the app side of things, where I call app the backend, GUI the front end, where backend front end is not really the right terminology, but it's close enough. Chillin'. All right. So now we have to look at these diffs and generate for all of the targets that they requested. So we can go app mod, and here, this is probably where we're crashing. It was line 363, which is this line. So we were like, hey, somebody's asking for some diffs from us, and we are only know how to handle one, and so now we're saying, fuck you. We now have to know how to handle all of them. I've kind of changed my mind that this expected repo should go inside the diff request. I think that's not reasonable because it's stupid to ask for diffs for multiple repos. We just won't. We were not going to support that. So maybe we'll go back here and we'll change this into expected repo is a path buff. And here we will say rex, we'll call it, is a vector of diff request. Which means that this guy now looks like this. And now this that mapping we were doing before actually doesn't make any fucking sense. Because the GUI had this internal representation that was exactly this. So we can go to the commit view and basically say See, yeah, like this diff request, options from to search query, from to option search query, these are the fucking same. So we can just slap these EQs and clones on there, delete this, and use the app diff request here. And then hopefully everything else still kind of works here. And then we can get rid of that map we were just working on in GUI mod, I think it was. Here, this outgoing Rex, this guy now looks back like get diffs. Boom, 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 boom. So this is Rex is diff requests. And I guess we can probably fold that down into just Rex and rename this guy up here to Rex. This goes away, except the expected repo stuff needs to come down here. Boom, 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 boom. Dun, 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 dun. Okay. Is that right? Nice. And then probably there are probably some people bitching about the curly braces again. Little whiners, these guys. Okay. Yep. And this guy as well. So this guy is going to say expected repo Rex. And then this is just going to be Rex. This and Rexlen is 1. Okay. Cannot mutate, so we slap a mute on here. Cool. And so now we should be back in the same state where things like kind of work, except for when I click on the working dir, which is going to ask for 2 diffs, and that's going to crash us. Chillin', crash. Yeah, crash. Cool. Cool. Okay. So now, what are we going to do here? We're going to check if the repo is the same, and if it is the same, then we're happy. We can keep going. Otherwise, we move on. So this guy now comes down here, and now we're going to be doing some form of loop instead. So it's going to look something like for rec in Rex. We can probably remove this mute now. And I guess probably everything down here gets indented. And this, I guess this gets indented as well. And this comes down here, okay? And this is now no longer rex.remove, but this is just going to say, please equal to rec. Let from to blah, blah, blah. So who is complaining about that? Okay, so down here, we need to say let mute ret is equal to vec new. Okay, and for each of these guys, we are going to push a diff. Well, yeah. And then here we just say diffs fetched ret. 376, he's bitching. So right, because the from and to in this log can't really extract that anymore. So I guess we'll just say ignoring diff request for close repo, and then we'll put the repo path there. And that's fine. That is fine. And then debug, maybe a warn. I don't know if I'm happy with the debug log there. Like a warn log there seems kind of more reasonable. Warning? Warn? Maybe I need to use log warn. Which should technically probably be in a different commit, but fuck it, I don't care. Okay. So here, the diff metadata, we have like the same thing where we're only retrieving the metadata for a specific diff is not who should own the repo anymore. We've kind of flip-flopped on that, and it feel like it should actually be in this diffs fetched thing again. So this guy's going to go back to curly braces. He's going to say repo is path buff, yep, and diffs is going to be this, okay, which means that here, this doesn't have repo in here, and here we have squiggly braces. Sorry, Yeah, braces. Repo is expected repo, and diffs is ret. And I guess we'll call ret diffs just to clear things up. So we can say diffs, womp, 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 bum, 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 and that folded down like that. Nice. And certainly somebody is going to be complaining. Yep, this guy is this again, and this guy is like this, and it's repo and diffs. Womp, womp. So this is repo again, and diffs needs to be mutable. Chillin'. So again, we should still be in this state where ooh, this actually might work now. It won't be very efficient, but it might work. We did crash because that assertion is still there in app mod, but I think that assertion is no longer required. I think. Now there's like some caching that's happening that we need to fix because this is gonna we're gonna thrash our cache in this scenario, but oh no, okay, he's still crashing. Why? GUI mod 441. Oh, because on the receiver side. What? GUI mod 110. I don't know why I said 441. Oh, because it says 441 down here. But this is the panic. There's like a double panic thing going on here because of poison lock. Gotcha. Okay. So now here, this can be called update diffs, and he's going to take a vector of diff. Yup. And so now this is going to be diffs, and he's going to say diffs. And so now we are going to... We have to have multiple diff views now. One to display each of the diffs. So this should be diff views, which now are going to be a vector of diff views. Nice. And we're going to have to handle the fact that we have to, we can't reuse them necessarily if there's the wrong number. So maybe what we'll do is, how expensive is constructing this thing? Not expensive at all. It's basically free. So we can just say self diff views clear, and then for diff in self diffs, or not diff, self diffs, diff, and this should be diffs. I have to stop hissing, man. I have to, but I can't help it. It just sounds so right. So for each of these guys, we're gonna say self diff views push. We'll create one. And we'll also append to the metadata, or append the metadata to the received thing. So we also have to clear this guy, and we will push him. Push diff metadata. Yup. And there we go. How fucked are we? This guy has to be reset to vec new now because he's no longer an option. He is a vector. This is diff views, plural. Diff views. So what are we gonna do here? For view in self diff views, I guess, which is immutable for some reason. Don't know why yet. We are going to contain all of these in the same scroll area, probably. I think that makes sense. And then we're going to... Ooh, interesting. Search bar. So there's a control F feature within the diff. And that's now going to be kind of related to all of the diffs, I guess. Fix me, search bar. I don't know how this is gonna be handled yet. But I might be able to just get away with not implementing the search bar for now. Fix me. We'll re-add the search bar. So I think that if I just don't run this like search bar wrapped thing, then it should be fine. So we could construct a message to show, which will have to be message per metadata per, right? Because we don't know, it's going to depend on what the diff is for. But for now, we'll just show one title for the whole thing. Per diff, I guess it should be called. Maybe we will still put the header in between just so that it's like visibly something we can look at. And then here we say view show UI. What is this like show taken? It's like a UI and a jump index. Well, I guess we'll just do none and force open because we don't know. We don't know how to handle these like search jumps between multiple diff views. Okay. And this guy has to be a closed bracket, I guess. And then I think we also kind of fucked up the case where there are no diffs. So maybe we'll put this whole thing in an if. Say if self diff views is empty. If it's not empty, we do something, otherwise we do something else. Yep. Looking good. And then this guy is saying, if we need to clear the diff views, we just reset it to vec, instead of none. And this is diff views plural. Okay. Okay. So hopefully now what we should see is when I go to here, we have like normal behavior. Oh, he's kind of like fucked. What's going on here? Don't like that. It's probably related to like this scroll area is probably not expanding correctly in this case. Expand, fill. What does this guy have on him? I'm sure like there's something wrong with maybe this view is not expanding correctly. That's interesting. Let's look at spiff. Spiff, which is like where this like diff view comes from. He's not cloned. He is not cloned. Let's get him in here. Let's get him in here. Oh, actually, why am I cloning from GitHub? What am I doing? I don't clone from GitHub. I clone from my own repo. Git clone, git spiff. What? Spiff is only on GitHub? Oh, that's dangerous. That's fucked. What if GitHub bans my account? I'll lose my work. That's not good. We'll have to fix that, but I'll fix that later. Okay. So in spiff, is he doing something stupid in his widget? So here, when I type show, I go show diff, for each like file, and he does like some UI stuff. Yep, label append, header show, UI horizontal. So it does look like he's like, should be correctly representing himself to the parent. So I don't really understand why it would be stuck in like small mode. Where was I? I was in the commit view. Scroll area vertical. Is it because like the scroll area has to like expand? So before this was in a like search bar wrapped shit. Where was that? That was in spiff, source, widget. Search bar wrapped. So he was doing like, he was like creating a new layout. And then he was calling like an inner layout and filling the thing with the inner layout. Yeah, there's nothing like crazy in there. Layout function. Let's double check here. So where were we in like commit view? Here. We used to make a scroll area, and in the scroll area we like did the search bar wrap thing. Now we're not doing that, but everything else is like kind of the same. Diff view show with no jump index. Interesting. I don't get it. Let's look again. So I click here, and like this guy is like snapping. Oh. Ah, it's because when he's collapsed. Aha, when he's collapsed, it is smaller. So it's only expanding until the widget fills the screen. I see. So what we should do is we can just try to use up the remaining space so that it can like stay expanded. So we'll just put this here. Boom. There we go. I think that should fix it. So please fill the space. Please, please, I beg you. Yeah, that's much better. Uh-oh, that's not good though. When it's too big now, it's like squeezing off the edge. This scroll area isn't doing what it should, I feel like. This guy needs to contain him. Am I high? Like, is there anything else that's drawing widgets here? No. There's probably some, like... something I need to... If you want the scroll area to expand to fit the surrounding UI, default. So what's the fucking problem? Am I not doing this in the right... like, UI, view, show, UI, text, show, UI? So, like, why this scroll area just, like, isn't behaving reasonably? Is it because, like, vertical is not... horizontal, vertical, both... neither, new, scroll enabled. Yep, so I have scrolling enabled. Let's run this again. Let's double check. Something about this is like fucked. Absolutely fucked. So when I click this. Oops. Maybe I do this. Put like ask like the expand, put the expand inside the scroll area, but the scroll area is supposed to like expand as much as you can. That does seem to fix it. Maybe it used to do that and now it doesn't. See auto shrink. Oh, default is true. Oh, I just turned off auto shrink. Okay. That's what I was saying. So here I want auto shrink false. There you go. And now we should expand and fill better. Because he was saying like, hey, my content is smaller than your size. Could I please take up less room? And now that's no longer happening. So we don't have that snapping. And now when I go back to modified files, we have double header. And we do see source app mod rs twice, once in the index, once in the diff view, probably is what we're seeing. Get status. No, what are we seeing here? What did we even ask for? What are we fucking doing here? So here we went for each of the diff views, and we throw a... Oh, okay, wait, hold on. What are we seeing here? Oh, this is app mod and GUI mod and git mod. So these are all different files. Okay, so if I say git add source GUI... There we go. Okay, so now we're seeing like this is the index view and this is the working directory view. So it does look like it's working, which is pretty sick. Now, obviously, like these titles need to be fixed to show index and stuff, but that's mostly there. The only problem is we have some like diff caching on the app side. So when we did these changes down here, somewhere, we have this like, hey, if our like diff processor is using like different targets, could you please like reload the files from disk? Which we do because when I go into the GUI and I go here and I like unclick like white space and track moves and stuff, whereas like an example of one that has like lots of moves in it. Here we go. So like here I'm seeing like if I like untick this track moves thing, I don't want to have to like reload these files from disk because that's like the expensive part. Well, by some metric expensive. That's like the slower part. Like actually doing the recomputation of the diff with move tracking is like relatively cheap. So we kind of like cache the sets of files that we're currently diffing. Which has like modified files and diff collection processor. Who does this come from? Okay. Right, so this is the data, and this is the collection of items. Right. And so this diff collection processor, he's got a bunch of references to data in this modified data, I guess. In these like in this modified files thing. Yeah. So here I've like loaded the files. And here I am referencing those files. And I get like we're resetting this guy in the case where we're diffing a different target. And so I guess what we should do is we should just have like a set of targets. Right? We need to give this guy the same treatment. So instead of option here, he's going to be a vector. And he still needs to be double indirection here because there's like self-referential stuff going on in this like in this guy. He's got this processor that is related to these specific files. And so because of this like self-referential stuff, this guy has to have like a stable memory location. If he's in a vector, this has like an unstable memory location because when you push to the vector, it might like need to reallocate memory and move everything. So the double indirection like kind of like solves that. And so here we're gonna do this like processor is going to turn into processors probably, but we'll do that at the end. There's a vec new here. And down here now we have to what are we gonna do here? I guess we'll split out this section from the loop. And I guess we will do this reloading stuff. And like maybe we'll split a function for this. So we'll say like ensure processors are for requests, and we'll look at processor and rex like this. That seems kind of reasonable, which means that we need some sort of function ensure processors are for rex, and we'll have processors is a mutable vector of pin box diff processor with data. Yeah, okay. Oh, I never noticed that, but the fucking red on the left is these like red angle brackets here are turning gray when I close them. That's such a sick, useful feature. How long have I had that there? That's awesome. Do you know how often I fuck this up? I should just be looking at that. And then we have like requests, which are a slice of diff request. Okay. So what are we doing there? Oopsies. I guess we're gonna iterate over the requests. maybe we're going to enumerate these guys so that we can have an index for them. And then we're going to try to look at that specific processor. And we're not going to handle, like, rearranging the processors. I'm not going to worry about that, right? If we're doing, like, diff AB, BC, and then we swap those to BC, AB, we'll just reload the data. Fuck it, I don't care. This is only supposed to be for the case where, like, we're issuing the same request over and over and over again, but with, like, different options. And so we can just kind of, like, hope that the GUI side is issuing the request in the same order. And by hope, I mean no, because we're implementing both sides. So we can say, we can do the same check. So we're going to look at the processor. We're going to say, let processor is equal to self, or processors, get I. And this is going to be like, he might not exist there. So in the case where he is empty, we're going to have to push one. Which means that kind of like all of this stuff inside here is going to happen in two cases. Either the processor doesn't match, or he is, like, he's for the wrong thing, or he doesn't exist. So I guess we will... What the fuck is this? This is awful. I hate whatever is going on in here, but we will think of that later. Or maybe we won't. So I guess, like, what I'm slowly arriving at is that this guy needs to be a function as well. So we'll call this function create processor for request. And we're going to paste all of this in here. And I don't really know what it does yet, but that will become apparent soon. So let's say that the incoming thing is a diff request. And here he has rec.from, rec.to. And we're going to need the repo as well. And it looks like that's it, and then we just return the processor. And this guy is a what? Oh, here. Processor is equal to this. A pinned box. Okay. And so this guy is going to return a pin box diff processor with data. Yep. Looking good so far. What doesn't it like here? Syntax error, expected comma. Where? Oh, because I fucked up the brackets here. Okay. So here we're going to say match processors get I. And if it's none, we are going to say processors push, and we'll call this function create processor for rec. And here we're going to give the rec and the repo, and which means that this guy needs to take in a repo. This. And if it's some v, we are going to do this check here. And then we'll do the same thing. So this is, we're missing a bracket here. This needs to be yoink in the brackets. Sorry, parentheses. And then we say processor equals this. And this has to be processor. And this is womp womp. I guess probably this looks a little cleaner is if we say this like this guy, these like this if can come out of this match statement to avoid like the like quadruple nesting. And here we will just in the none case continue, and that will make everything simpler. Yep, nice, 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 nice. And create processor for rec repo, womp womp. Is this all good? It feels like it is, but there's a lot of gray stuff, which makes me think that it's not good. So what is wrong here? Cannot find value from, so this is going to be rec from rec2. Self value is a key, so we have to look at processor here instead of self block processor. And maybe we dereference processor here for the assignment, and this is rec from rec2. And they don't like this as ref thing, right? So this is processor dot data IDA is equal to this guy like this. We got rid of this like option bullshit. Yep. This doesn't need references anymore. Chilling. Okay. This is close. What's happening here? We'll call this internal processor like this. I think that makes sense. And then we can return this, blah, blah, blah. One of the expressions field has a method in the same name. What is going on here? Something's not right. Oh, I guess this is return result as well. Just following the errors, man. One by one. One by one. Syntax error, expected a comma. Oh, because I forgot another fucking thing here. One of the expressions fields has the same name, processor. So what doesn't it like here? Processor is a pin box. I call as mute and unwrap him. What's he bitching about? Oh my god, that's a lot of errors. That's so many errors. I guess these guys can also fail now. So this is just going to be like a yoinky, yoinky. And at the end we get okay, like this. Let's kind of pick some of these simple errors first. So self repo has to be passed in here. Maybe it's repo here. Repo. Yep. Type annotations needed. Oh, so all this stuff now looks a lot different. We don't have to do any of this. This is now done in that ensure, blah, blah, blah. But now we can just we can just iterate the processor thing. Right, and so now this is processor as you unwrap, blah, 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 blah. What have I done here? Something feels wrong. Like, I don't understand these errors. Fields has the same name processor. So container is... So this process new options. Who has that function? That's probably from the diff library. So this guy has diff collection processor who has function process new options. Yes, okay. So we have diff processor with data has a processor, and we have a bunch of diff processors with data. So we have processor dot processor. Yep. I don't see any problem here. So this guy is a pin box diff processor with data. Oh, maybe we need to use this mutably. And then, like, what the fuck is the problem here? Am I high? Like, what the fuck is it complaining about? No method named unwrap. Oh, because it's not an option anymore. So this should just say container like this, and we go like this. Ah, yes, yes, yes. Okay. And now we have to look at the options associated with this processor, or with this request. So I guess that means that the request will have options. So we actually want to do like self processor, iter mute, zip it with the requests. We'll say container rec, and this is rec options and rec search query. Okay. Which I guess technically doesn't make a lot of sense, right? Like the options and the search query are probably going to be like the same for the whole collection, but I'm not going to deal with that right now. 2 is from rec 2, and options is from rec options. Okay. There we go. This is making a lot more sense now. So it's the same thing here, where we just call this internal processor here. No, this is processor. There we go. This is starting to make sense now. Okay. Everybody's happy, and this guy cannot assign to this, which is behind an and reference. This is behind a mute reference. So this is be iter mute here, I guess. No. Get mute here. There we go. There we go. No more compile errors. Failed to reconstruct processors. So hopefully we just find that everything works correctly. Like, we should see no change in behavior. So that's good. We're still seeing the diffs. And now what we want to do is, I guess, is we want to make sure that we are only reloading in the case where we have to. So print line reloading processor, because this is like the whole point of this like caching thing, is we only reload sometimes. Okay, so here we should see reloading processor, which we do. But if I like start like toggling these things, then we don't see reload. But if I go to modified files, then we see 2 reloading processors. But if I start toggling options, we do see reloads, which is bad. Yeah, that's not good. Oh, but we always reload the working dir stuff. Maybe. Do we? I don't remember. So it's here if the index is malleable, there is not a single identifier. Reload. Yeah. So we do just always reload from the index, so it's actually hard to test this because the only case where we're showing multiple is in this case. But it's fine, I guess. It's not the end of the world because we do see that I don't like this. But it's the way it was before, so it's fine. We're just gonna leave it like that. I'm not the greatest, but it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Not great, but it's fine. So maybe we should fix me. Should we only do this if the option... I should say, fix me. Are there cases where this does not hold true? Not sure. Okay. So now... I don't know how to handle this, like, search bar shit. Which is a little annoying. But I wonder what happens... I guess we would have to, like, I think that the way it works is, we jump to a location based off of the result of a search. And we would have to, like, coordinate that search between multiple diffs. So we can look at app mod again. And if I remember correctly, there's multiple types. In, like, the diff, diff request. Hold on, where were we? It's here. They issue the search query, and they're kind of issuing it on all diffs, which is kind of wrong. This should be only issued on the next diff. Right, so like we support searching within a diff for a thing, but we should only do that if the previous result was for the last one, which is a pain in my ass. Pain in my ass, and I don't really want to solve that right now. I'm going to solve that off stream, I think. Okay. So let's merge with the index view next, which we're pretty close to doing. Hold on. Let's do a little cleanup. Let's do a little bit of a commit. So we can git add -u, and we can look at the index, and we can say, what the fuck is in here? Is it anything garbo? Pretty reasonable. Yeah. Some fix me's in here that I'll have to clean up off screen, but everything else is like pluralizing. Yeah, nothing crazy. Okay. How long have you been doing Rust? I just started having troubles. For a long time, to be honest. And I remember struggling a lot with like mutability and references and stuff. It's like there's just things that you want to do in other languages that you can't do here that like stresses me out. Which, yeah, but you'll get there eventually. It's a lot of like feeling comfortable with using like reference counting when it makes sense. Using indexes instead of pointers when it makes sense. An example is, I think it's in like the commit graph generation here. Where is it? It's in a git graph repo, pack repo maybe. So an example is like normally I would like create like a hash map of objects to metadata, right? So we have like hash map object ID to metadata. And in like C++, I would like give out references to this metadata directly from within the hash map. But that would end up crashing my program, actually. That actually wouldn't be valid. So what I ended up, because like as the hash map gets more data added to it, like it might reshuffle the stuff inside, and this like reference to metadata might go away. And so like what I do here is I have like a storage buffer that's like a linear storage that I push stuff into, and when I look things up, I hand out indexes to this metadata. And it's just like stuff like that is like a pattern that you have to end up like adopting in Rust, where you're like, I will use indexes when I can, and if it doesn't make sense, I might have to like restructure my problem so that indexes do make sense, because you can like use indexes a lot and pointers not so much, because the references get like a real painful. Stuff like that. You pick up the tricks over time. Okay. Sounds like a typical C++ API. Here's a reference. You figure out how long it's valid for. Yeah, dude, for real. That's bit me so many times. Dude, the ones that like get really nasty are I had so many problems in C++ that like never like often didn't manifest, of stuff like you have like class foo, and in him you might like spawn a thread. I'm trying to remember the exact case. It's something like you would do like std thread, and you might like store a reference to this inside this like function that you spawn out, right? And it's like do something with data, right? This data or something, right? Because he has like a data. What's the std vector? I don't know. In data, whatever. But this is actually like super fucking invalid. Like super fucking invalid. Because like you don't know if somebody's going to like move this around. So like this like pointer to this can become like invalidated, but it doesn't look like you're doing anything wrong. You're just like spawning a thread that uses my data. But stuff like that, like I hit problems like this so often where you like hand out references to things and you think that they're going to be valid and they're just not. So Rust kind of like forces you not to do that, and you get pissed off because you're like, I did this all the fucking time in C++, but it actually wasn't valid in C++ either. You just didn't fucking notice. Until you did, and your fucking program crashed and your whole architecture's broken. What was I doing? Merging with index view. Merging with index view. Right. So I was looking at this like commit view, and now when I look at the index, I want to construct diff requests for what we were doing for the working dir before. So I guess we'll just remove this like working dir concept and we'll just say this is what we do in the index now. Which means in the commit log, we remove this like working dir thing everywhere because we're merging the two together. So we go womp, delete this, and we are only adding one thing to the graph now instead of two, so we have to change all these twos to ones, which is not good. That is error prone, but it's fine for now, because it's fresh in my head. Okay, where else do we use working dir? Here, go away, string housing, who cares? Here, go away. Okay. So now when we are looking at the index, we request two things, and then when we render the index, we should be able to maybe generate, maybe we do generate commit headers. Yes, that makes sense so far. Gives me like a vector of strings. And so if I'm looking at like a single object, we just have like one message, one header. But if we're looking at the index, we actually have we have multiple headers. We have staged files, as well as working directory. Modify, working dir, I will call it. Yep. And I'm going to be a little bit neurotic here and make these copy on write. No, we're not. It's fine. We'll just two-string these, even though it's kind of silly. Okay. So now, before we were generating a single header and looking at the message, and now we're going to say let messages, or call them headers maybe, is equal to, what the fuck? What did I just do? Gen commit headers for the selected commit and the cached commits. Okay. And now for each of these diffs, we're going to do something like zip headers. This is going to be view header. And this is going to be header as string, like this. And this has to be iter, like this. This iterator yields and references. This would be iter mute, and this guy doesn't look like this anymore. And so now I think, as long as I've structured this correctly and we've got the order right, this is saying I have working dir then stage files, and we generate the request. It should be working dir then stage files. It's wrong. Backwards. Stage files and working dir. So now I think that we should have split headers for things that are staged and unstaged. Stage files working dir, and if I say git add source GUI mod rs, hell yeah, dude, that's sick. That's sick. So now we see this in like one little thing, which should make like interaction with this a lot better. So I can say like I want like what's in the commit log, git add source GUI commit log. And that ends up in the stage files now. Sick. Okay. Now, the last piece here is that we wanted to show modified and untracked as like two separate things here. Because showing like garbage in here along, like it needs to be clear what happens when you're going to get add -u, right? The fact that some things move and some things don't, that's not clear at all. So, what are we going to do there? We have to add a new diff target. So We'll just dump here. So we have diff targets here, and we're gonna change this working dir one to modify working dir modified, and then we're gonna add one for working dir untracked. I think that makes sense. So it's gonna say modified files, and we're gonna have working dir untracked. It says untracked files. And oopsies, fuck. Oh, I hate it when I do this. So now in git GUI app mod, here we go. We're going to look at working dir modified, and modified files indexed to work dir. That's like almost right. Right, we have a list of files that are changed from the index to the working directory, but we have to split these by tracked or by like files that are currently tracked or untracked. So we have to go into the repo stuff and look at the files that are changed between trees, blah blah blah, index and working dir modified. And here we should just only look at files that are currently in the index. Okay. So here we iterate over, we like clone the index and then we split out things that are in the working dir. Great. But here we should just only insert if it exists already. So if file modified files. If work dir files contains key file. We do this. Yep. Okay, and then we'll just... What's it complaining about? Trait bound contains key... Oh. Let file is equal to this. And then we can contains key file and call this file bytes, I guess. This, there, boom. Okay. And then I guess we want to do the same thing, but for untracked. So we're going to look for... I guess we're going to have some function that's like untracked files. And this is still going to like come back as a modified files, which seems kind of fair, but odd, but fair enough. And we're going to do the same thing that we did here, except we're just going to basically fucking... we still need to look at the index, but instead the work dir files are going to be an empty hash map. And we're going to say for the file in the modified files, if the index files contains this key, does not contain this key, then we look at it. And then we are going to use an empty list for index files. Yep. So we'll just say hash map new. And I guess saying that we're coming from the index, even though we're not passing in files that are from the index, is like kind of still valid by some metric of valid. Seems kind of reasonable. And this is now going to be working dir untracked. Very similar, maybe a little expensive because we're like diffing the index, or we're looking at the we're loading the index and iterating the working dir twice, but maybe that's fine. It's probably good enough for now. So now here we can say that if we're looking from the index to working dir untracked, we say untracked files here instead. And now I think that's probably everything that we need in order to make that work. Maybe. So now this index view is going to get more complex. He's going to make headers for stage files, working dir, modified files, and untracked files. And when he generates these requests, he's just going to add a third one here for working dir untracked. And maybe that's enough. I have no compile errors, so like kind of seems right, but we'll see. We'll see. Something went wrong there when I moved it to between windows. Okay. So here I have untracked files, test.c, modified files here, stage files. Does that match git status? Yeah, and then if I like git add source app mod rs, and then if I touch test2c, echo hello to test2c, seems somewhat right. Yeah, that's not that bad. Not that bad at all. I expected that to be worse. Not bad at all. Not bad at all. Okay, so the only thing that's gone now is like I used to be able to control F in here for search stuff. I guess temporarily we could re-enable that if there's only one thing in the diff view, because that'll work, and we'll just disable control F for stage for like this index view, which is like kind of shit and like unexpected behavior. But it does let me like keep the app in like a working state, right? The new feature will we won't like regress by doing that, even though it's like weird and shitty behavior. So that was in commit view. I was probably just in this window. There was this like search bar wrapped thing where maybe we'll do git show master. Is it like this? Percent colon P? Nope. Git show master source GUI commit view. Here we go. Okay. And can we, how do I like rotate these windows again? WO. Fuck. It's fine. It's fine. GUI commit view. Set ft equals rust for like the nice little highlighting, and we can just look at what we did before for this like search bar wrap thing. Okay, so we can say we put the search bar inside the scroll area. I don't think that's right. I think you want the search bar outside the scroll area. So I think we say let action is equal to search bar wrapped. We use the search bar. And then we say, give them to the UI, and we say, hey, here's the UI, and here is the jump, where you want to jump to. And then we do all the stuff we were doing before. We are missing a... Okay, and I guess we only do this if there's one diff view. And I guess then we'll just say let render diffs is equal to closure that is just this shit. And he'll take in the UI here, because we don't know which UI we're going to draw into. And we'll also take in the jump IDX here, and we'll say jump IDX like this. And so now we can say if the length is 1, we can render diffs with UI and jump IDX. Otherwise, we do it outside like this. Okay. And this is none. Is it GUI or TUI? GUI. And are you going to embed Termi and split the bottom? Would you be better like a better diagnosis? That definitely is the plan. I am definitely planning on once Termy's in like a good state, I think that I can embed because the bottom view sucks, right? But I would have to eventually I'd have to figure out how to so the way that like the GUI works, hold on, git stash. Or we can use one installed in my system. So a really like nice feature of this is if I here we go. Yeah. If I issue like any command from the GUI, this actually turns into a command line option or command line that's run in the terminal. And so I would have to find a way to inject stuff from the GUI into the command line. But I think that that's like totally doable. And the reason for this is because I want the GUI to be something that you use in conjunction with the command line. And so like maybe you do some action on the GUI and you want to like adjust it in some way. It's nice to be able to like, it's nice for the GUI to be forced to use the command line interface so that I can like learn what the GUI is doing as a user, but I'm the only user. So it's, I'm not going to learn shit. But more importantly, like the copy paste ability of that infrastructure is better. But yeah, it would be cool to get Termy in there for sure. Okay, so they don't like this multiple mutable borrow shit, so we'll just say let nom diff views here is equal self diff views dot len, which makes it so that I can use nom diff views here instead of calling diff views len again. And maybe we have to say move here? No. What are they bitching about? Side note, whoever was saying earlier, like, getting used to working in Rust is a pain in the ass. Little tricks like this is just something that you have to pick over time, right? Where it's saying, like, hey, you're borrowing self.diffuse. You have to know that you're like, oh, I don't care about actually using self-diffuse here. I have to cache the value so that I can only hold one reference to it in this guy. UI escapes the closure body. So how is that possible? Why is it escaping? Because render diffs doesn't do anything. Oh, because he can't prove that this lambda is, or closure, I guess it's called in this language, isn't going to like try to stash the UI. Oh, that's funny. Okay, so this can't be a closure. This has to be a like external, like a proper function, which I think might still be able to be done here if I just do function render diffs UI UI jump IDX. I have to like figure out what the type of this thing is, which I think is usize here. I'm going off memory from something I saw like 3 minutes ago. And then self here needs to be replaced with diff views, which is mutable reference to diff view. Yeah. Yep, this needs to be mutable like this. And headers also needs to get passed in here, I guess. So this is a slice of strings, I think, if I remember correctly. So this guy can now just use diff views like this. Headers is fine. Force open also needs to be passed in. Annoying, but we'll make it work. It's fine. It's fine. Not the end of the world. Headers. Mute diff view self diff views force open. Jump IDX needs to be none in this case. And here he doesn't like this force open as a option. Surprising. Is it force option supposed to be an option bool? It probably is. All right. I prefer, like, I wish that it would let me capture this stuff so that I could, like, make a closure that just has, like, the parts that I care about that are different, but, sometimes the Rust gets you this way. Slap this guy down here. And he doesn't like something here. If you use the GUI at the terminal, wouldn't the TUI be better unless the goal is to make GUI first? There's zero change. I think that the concept of TUIs is like fucking wrong. Like, I know that's probably a hot take, but I think it's like fucking stupid that we render everything in terminals still. Like, I should be able to render like how to hold on, get spit. Like, if I show all here, like these branches, like it's stupid for me to try to render these in text, right? This is like fucking stupid. It's stupid for me to like, you know, this like animation, this scrolling, it's just better in a GUI. It's just better. And so like, while I think that I should be able to use the command line and I should be proficient on the command line, I think it's like stupid to limit myself to it, if that makes sense. And so that's why I'm doing it this way. Some people don't like to alt tab between windows and they would love to have it running in terminal and switch through tmx tabs. I agree with that to some extent as well, which is why I'm integrating a terminal into this application eventually. Because I agree that I don't want to alt tab that much. But again, I think like tmux is like the best option for me right now, but I also think tmux is fucking stupid. Like, why the fuck am I rendering a terminal inside a terminal when I could just like have like something that's like a proper GUI? There's features that tmux has that are like unbeatable, and like when I'm SSHing into things, then it's like great to be able to like use tmux on both sides. But I think that I should be able to like the TUI should be like a fallback in my mind. It would just be better if it was if I had like tabs. Like, it's just better. But I you know, I'm willing to concede that some people disagree, and that's why I write software. Because I think that like what I want is not the same as what everybody else wants, and so it's sick to just be able to be like, I want this, so I'll make it. That's fucking sick. I love to be like, yeah, it's great. And so I don't have to agree with you because I can just make what I want. Trouble with Rust right now is that iterating over a byte vec and splitting at the first occurrence of a sequence of bytes. I think there's like splitting APIs. There's like split at mute that let you have like two mutable references to the same vector as long as you like bisect it, which are pretty nice. Okay, what was I trying to do here? I was trying to see what the fuck it's complaining about here. Cargo, check. Diff view not found in scope. Oh, I see. So we just have to spiff widget colon here. And iter mute found for mutable reference. Really? Oh, it's because this is a vector. Oops. Womp womp. Womp womp. Okay. So now, if we've done all of this correctly, in like the old commit views, I should be able to go like here and look at a diff, and I should be able to say like look for expect. What's happening? Is it turning CPU or is it broken? This isn't work. Oh, because I didn't. I think I didn't apply the action. Yes. There's a thing that comes out. There's an action here. I have to do something with it. So we can look at wherever we would get showing. We look for action, and we need to apply that action. Yep. I think I put this in the wrong spot. It's here. Yes. And now, if I run this, hopefully that search will work correctly again. That's a good thing about open source. Yeah, dude, I think that like people have like, that's one good thing about open source is like the ability to be able to like modify and write. But I think that people underestimate like the ability to just like jump into the source code when you hit a problem of somebody else's library and just like quickly skim it. It's like, it's so valuable to be able to just see an implementation of something. I don't think that I worked in firmware for a long time, maybe like 4 or 5 years, and we would get these devices that had like spec sheets, right? And they would never work the way you thought they would. And you would spend so much time like reverse engineering what the microcontroller in the device was doing instead of just like when you're using like when you're using like an open source library, you don't have to deal with like reverse engineering the API. You can just go look and it's fucking sick. It's so sick. I like think about that. So every time I like find a problem, I'm just like, this is like the best thing ever. Okay, so I should be able to control F in here. So if I search for refresh, oh yeah, that looks like it's working now. Paths. It looks like maybe jumping is not working unless that's the only one in here. Can I search for something like view? Yeah, it doesn't look like the like jumping around is working anymore. But we should double check that the old version of this that did work. Expect or something. Yeah, that's working. So this is what's supposed to happen. Is I'm supposed to press enter. It's supposed to jump me to different parts of the diff. And that's not happening anymore. So why not? Update search. Search query. Yeah. And we're passing in jump indexes and with the search bar. Yeah, I don't understand why that's not working. Unless we were doing something different before. Git show set ft equals rust. So action. He was saying, I am a search bar wrapped thing. I'm going to show my diff, and I'm going to jump to that spot if you ask me to. And then if I have this action, I'm going to submit a search query to the other side of the app. So here I say self-search query, and I'm still using that search query here. And we know that the search query is getting propagated because we know that it's getting propagated because what? What am I saying here? Because it's being highlighted in the diff view. But it's not, the jump action is not happening, which is an internal action if I remember correctly. Like it gets exposed here, but we don't actually have to do anything with it. So it's maybe something in his like render diffs here. He is jumping to this jump IDX, and so it'd be nice to maybe, we can see if the jump IDX there is working. Print line, jump IDX, cargo run. So let's like search for something in here. So we have like fix me. Okay, so when I'm jumping, I am getting a jump location, but it's looking like it's usize max, which is fucked. So we must not be propagating some like where am I right now correctly. Who owns that? Search bar wrapped. Search bar. Does the search bar own it? Current search index. I feel like I didn't really change much. I wonder if it broke before this. Hold on. Let's get add-u, get commit-m, smiley face, get checkout origin master, cargo run. And let's just see if before today this was already broken, because that's very possible. I could have broke it when I did like a dependency upgrade recently. Oops. Okay, let's look at like here. So control F. Oh, yeah, this is like fucked already. Viewport. Yeah, okay. This is already broken. Sick. Okay. So, since it was already broken, it means I don't have to fix it. Isn't that great? Love that. Okay. So, I think we made pretty good progress today. I'm pretty happy with where we got. I think that there's no, like, really, like, major outstanding problems that will, like, block me from merging this. This like index view is sick. Yeah, if I say like, oh fuck, print line. Let's run it again. We can use the GUI to merge that change in. So I can look here. I have a modified file. I say git add -u. That gets pushed into staged files, and then I can say git commit. Pops up my little UI as a smiley face. Finish. Sick. Yeah, pretty happy with that. That's a lot nicer, because I tried to use this yesterday off stream, and without the separation between untracked and tracked files, like that was like, it was awful. So really happy with that. Really happy with that. Thanks for watching, guys. If you like what you saw, I stream most days between 1 and 2 o'clock Pacific time for 1 and 2 hours. Right now, we've been working on this Git GUI for the past few days. Probably there's a couple more things I want to tackle on this before we switch back onto Termi, the terminal emulator we've been working on. There's a YouTube linked in the Twitch description where there's like playlists for each of our projects, as well as a GitHub linked in the Twitch description for like source code for these guys. If you're watching on YouTube, there should be a Twitch link in the YouTube description that links back here. And if you're online at around 1 or 2 o'clock Pacific time, I guess like 1 to 4 Pacific time, because it's 1 or 2 for 1 or 2 hours. Maybe swing by, say hi if you feel like it. Nothing in the about section on Twitch, FYI. Yeah, people have been saying that, so oopsies, I don't want to go there. I want to go with twitch.tv Spherophoria. I have to fix this, I guess, because what I see is that there are links here. And I think that somebody was saying on stream the other day that they don't necessarily see these, so I have to fix that. But I guess in the meantime, we can post links to these guys here and here. Just for y'all who don't see that, because apparently it's not reliable. Yeah, I think that's it. Thanks for watching, guys. Oh, somebody asked a question. Does it have merge conflicts editor? No merge conflicts editor yet, because, okay, so I think I've gotten, like, really fucking stupid here. But I've stopped using merge conflict editors altogether. I think that that's wrong, but, like, I haven't seen, like, it feels more effective to me to just open Vim and, like, delete the lines that aren't relevant. So I that's probably another one of those things where it's like, if I implemented a merge editor that I didn't think sucked, maybe I would use it. But yeah, so for now, no merge conflicts because I don't use them. Okay. I think that's it. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye.